Hello there, welcome back to another episode of What Is. My name is Barb Owen of HowToGetCreative.com, and thank you so much for joining me for this episode of What is a Mandala? Now, you might have heard of a mandala by this point in time because they're becoming more popular as an art form. If not, I'm going to show you all kinds of examples. I have a whole bunch here, and we're going to talk about them just for a second. Now, first of all, let's talk about the word mandala. That's how I pronounce it. Some people pronounce it mandala. Some people pronounce it mandala. Whatever works for you, it's all the same thing. So you can pronounce it any way you like. So what is a mandala? It is a circular design with repeating patterns radiating from the center. Most commonly, sometimes you'll see them as squares, but most of the time they tend to be more commonly seen in the circle format. In fact, mandala means sacred circle, a symbol of wholeness for many people. And mandalas are found in all cultures and religions and are linked to geometry, psychology, and healing, which I find very interesting. The motif of the circle appears very early in human history. I'm reading from notes in case you couldn't tell. Circles have been discovered on rock carvings in Africa, Europe, and North America. They use circles and spirals in similar designs, although the purpose isn't very clear. But they must have been really important because of the vast number of circles and so forth that they found on those rock carvings. So it's quite an interesting old art form. Now, some people use mandalas for self-expression or self-exploration. They're often used as a means of connection with the source of all inspiration and meditation. So some people go that direction, and that's what the mandala is primarily used for in their world. Sometimes mandalas are created just because they're pretty, just because they're just a beautiful art form. And as people are working with them, people find different ways of creating their own mandala style. Some people use very mathematical expression with compasses and protractors and so forth and rulers, and they get very, very precise about their measurements and the way they create their mandalas. Other people are much more spontaneous and free, and theirs tend not to be symmetrical so much. Now, my personal mandalas kind of go both directions. Sometimes they're symmetrical and kind of precise, not terribly precise, but kind of precise, and other times they're not. So let me show you some of my mandalas just to give you an idea, again, in case you're not really familiar with what they are. So as I said, I kind of tend to use mandalas for lots of different purposes. So let me show you one. This is one that I have created that is along the lines of, sorry, get my camera adjusted here just a smidgen. There we go. So this is one that I've created that is more of a meditative kind of mandala. So I created a background, and then I have various things on my mandala, my personal mandala that I'm working on, different aspects of my life. And so this lives in my studio, and this is something that I'm personally working on. So it falls in that category of a little bit more of self-expression and self-exploration. Sometimes when I'm sitting around and I'm not doing anything, I'll just grab a pen. This was a piece of notebook paper, lined notebook paper, and I just started doodling a mandala. So I started in the middle with a dot called a seed, and then I just grew the mandala, cut it out just roughly. You can see by looking at it, it's not terribly symmetrical by any means. And I put it on a piece of black cardstock that I did cut into a circle, and then I mounted it on a piece of red cardstock. And you know what? I really like this mandala, and it was just doodled on a piece of notebook paper. That's all it was. Some other mandalas that I've done, or another way that I like to use mandalas, is as greeting cards. So here's an assortment of greeting cards, just all different mandalas. I love exploring color using the various mandalas. So you can see a wide assortment of color here. And I've shown these particular mandalas on other videos, so I'm not going to go through each one of them. But I love creating them as cards. So, for example, let's take this one. I created the mandala, I mounted it on a piece of colorful cardstock, and then I purchased the card bases that are already created in the square card base, because let's face it, I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to making my own card bases. So I just put it together and I have a mandala card ready to send to someone. Now, of course, if you have the ability to scan your artwork, you could scan them and save them and then print them out and not have to do the original, use your original designs each time. So that's a great use for your mandalas. You can use them to create your own beautiful greeting cards. I also enjoy making journals of mandalas. So this one happens to be watercolor paper, and it's just, that's all it is. It's a watercolor paper mandala journal. And in this case, I've drawn the mandalas right on the backgrounds. So depending on what, this was an acrylic wash background on the watercolor paper, and then I tore it and made it into a book. And then I just, whichever page inspires me, then I just start drawing a mandala on it. This one needs a lot more work on it. This one needs a little bit more work on it. So they're just in different stages of being completed. So this is truly a mandala journal, just like that. And this is another one that is a journal that I'm going to dedicate, I think, primarily or solely, I'm not sure yet, to mandalas. These mandalas are actually from my books, Mandala Melange, Mandala Medley, and Mandala Madness, which I'll show to you in just a minute. But I've colored them with various kinds of art materials, art supplies, which is one of my favorite things to do with mandalas, is to explore color combinations and different art supplies. And then I've cut them out and then mounted them right into this black Dylusion square journal, which is perfect, absolutely perfect for the mandalas. And then I've embellished around the outside edge a little bit. So different mandalas, different colors, different ways of creating them. This is just a single color. And yeah, they're fun. They are fun to do. And the black background makes such a nice display for the colors. It just makes the colors pop. So in this case, the mandalas were created separately and put into the journal, where this one, the mandalas are created right on the page. So whatever the background is, then I'm letting that guide me as to how the mandala is going to come into the world. And then sometimes I create a colorful background. So this is in a Strathmore Mixed Media Journal. So this is a background that was created with the smaller jelly plate, the round jelly plates, Jelly Arts jelly plates. And then when I was finished doing the background, I grabbed a white pen. Once it was totally dry, grabbed a white pen, put a center dot in there, drew a circle with a compass. Same thing here, just made some overlapping circles, and then I just started growing the mandalas using a white pen, and that's all I used. And then added some words, and that was that. So I made an art journal page that way. Sometimes I use them in my regular journal. This is my journal for writing and sticking in various things, kind of a junk stash, kind of a stash kind of journal, you know, where I put stuff in it as well as writing. And in this case, after I was writing, you know, it was kind of one of those brain dump kind of days where I just needed to get rid of a whole bunch of thoughts in my head. So I wrote them all down, decided I didn't ever want to read it again, scraped some black gesso over the top of it, let it dry, took some Dylusions paint pens, made a center point, and then just drew a mandala around it. So it took something that didn't make me feel good and turned it into something that did by using the form of the mandala. Sometimes I take a mandala like this one and actually turn it into a book. So this was a mandala that I created, and it's not heavily embellished, but it is really, this is one of my favorite mandalas actually. Created the mandala, cut it in half, cut some circle pages, stitched it together with a Coptic stitch binding, and so I have a circle journal with a mandala cover. So that's pretty fun. And this, so I don't always draw all my own. Sometimes I find things like this. This is actually a gift that was given to me. Mandalas for Meditation, Scratch Off Nightscapes. And this is fun. And it's kind of mindless, which is great for some of those days when you just need something to just kind of unwind with. So I have this one, and let's see if I can get it to just pop out here. And it is scratch art, and it comes with a tool, just like this. It's a tool, just a little piece of bamboo, kind of like a stylus. And the mandalas are all on there. And all you need to do is to scratch off the top layer. Follow the guide and scratch off that top layer of, it's kind of like a waxy coating. So you just need to scratch it off, and every so often clean off the tip of the tool. And you can just do this. You can listen to music. You can have a video playing. You can just have a good time. And it reveals the color below. And I love the way that the color on this has that ombre effect. Now I've embellished a little bit more in here than it actually was on the design. So you can do that. And you can see out here that I have some marks that, I wasn't so careful not to scratch the top coating. So once this design is complete, I'll even come in here and I'll add more designs and so forth in the background, because I just think it'd be fun to do that. Make it my own, It's my art. I'll make it the way I want to. Just because they designed it a certain way doesn't mean I have to follow the rules. There's no rules. In art journaling, there's only the rule to do what you enjoy and makes it fun and makes it happy for you. That's right. Now, I also enjoy working with fabric. And so this is a mandala created in fabric. This is a little fabric art quilt. And so sometimes I create mandalas in fabric. Again, it's pretty symmetrical, and I love doing that. And earlier I mentioned the books that we have. So I don't always draw my own mandalas. Sometimes I go back to my own books. And these are ebooks. The links will be in the description box below. If you want to just print out your own designs like these. This one has Mandala Medley, has 25 different designs in it. And you can just print them out on your home computer, or you could go to an office supply store. We give you permission to take them and have them printed out there. So you can put them on a USB stick, take them in and print them off. And then you can just sit down and just color the mandalas the way you want. And that is a lot of fun to do. So Mandala Medley, we have Mandala Melange. This one has 30 designs in it. Mandala Medley has 25. And then Mandala Madness has 5 additional designs. So you can find all the links to that information below in the description box. Oh, and I forgot to show you a couple of other things. I don't always do things that, on paper or something flat. This is just a rock. I bought a whole bag of rocks from the craft store, and they were already brown river rocks. And so I just took a paintbrush and white paint, and I just painted a mandala on there. So this can sit on my desk. It says Creativity Rocks on the back. So it sits on my desk as a paperweight, which is really fun. Another fun thing to do is you can make rub-ons. This is one of my mandalas, so I made a rub-on out of it and applied it to a mug. Now these mugs are best, I think probably best to either hand wash or not wash, perhaps. I don't know. I haven't thoroughly tested the washability, but they'd be great for putting on your desk and putting pens and pencils in, which I love to do that. So that gives you some ideas of what mandalas are and some of the ways that I've used them. Now, by the way, did you know that we have a Mandala Madness course going on? It starts Monday, June the 26th, 2017. We would love to have you come over and check it out. We have this first class. It's going to involve, first of all, it involves 13 classes, 4 bonus classes, and the first class that we have, which starts on June 26th, will have show and share live sessions that are in conjunction with this course. So if you want to get in on the live show and share sessions and pick up some tips and tricks in person with me, you need to sign up right away and come on over and check it out. I think you're going to really, really be glad you did. So you can find that link in the description box below the video. Listen to me. Below the video. So check us out. Come on over to HowToGetCreative.com. Remember to get creative today because you know it's easy. And I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.